So I think every single trader has been in this scenario. Last time I checked on Polymarket, it is 104% of the trading population. You put on a trade for earnings, you're super excited, you get the directional move right, but you still lose money. You actually thought Google was going to go higher, so you bought a call, but you didn't make any money. You actually thought Tesla was going to go lower, so you bought a put, but you didn't make any money. So why is that the case, and what is going on underneath the hood that is causing these unexpected or surprising results? Well, the answer is almost always going to be volatility crush, and that's what I want to talk about today, so let's go. So what is volatility crush or IV crush? Well, we know that going into earnings, implied volatility is reliably going to move higher as traders are getting ready. They're positioning for those big moves, whether they be higher or lower, it doesn't matter. Option traders are buying options in anticipation of an explosive move in either direction, and they want to take advantage of that explosive move. Well, because of all this demand, because of all this, buying pressure on the options, it's causing the option prices to rise. Because the option prices are rising, implied volatility is following suit, and it is also rising going into an earnings release. But then once the earnings number comes out, then all of a sudden there's no need for all that volatility. All of a sudden the uncertainty has been lifted, a lot of those long option positions get closed, and you see the implied volatility. The volatility in those options absolutely collapse. You see that volatility crush happen effectively in real time. So if there's like an earnings release after the bell one day, a lot of this volatility comes out of the options right on the opening bell the following morning, maybe within the first 3 to 5 to 10 minutes of the trading session that following day. And so that is the driving force behind these surprising or unexpected results after an earnings release. It's not a mystery. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's just option pricing. And so what's interesting about this is what is hurting the option buyers can certainly help us as option sellers, right? If I buy an option, I'm playing direction. I want to get the direction move right. I want to capitalize from this explosive move in the stock, but I'm going to have to battle against this volatility crush because I'm going to be buying the option potentially at high or peak volatility. I'm going to have to overcome that volatility crush in order to make money. Well, I could just be on the other side of the trade from the very beginning. Like I could just take advantage of the volatility crush by selling volatility at its peak and then letting that volatility dissipation, that volatility collapse that following morning on the opening bell actually work in my favor. Because remember, by selling implied volatility when it's at its peak or on the rise, you're already being compensated for, the high volatility by way of really high option prices. So that just as that kind of a standalone entity is really advantageous. But now you kind of tack on top of that, this kind of known event, this kind of known release where now I know the volatility is going to come out of the options when the unknown becomes known. When the uncertain becomes certain, I know that the implied volatility is going to come out of the options. So as a premium seller, I kind of like volatility crush. In fact, I kind of love volatility crush. Like I like selling premium right before earnings because I'm allowed to, or I'm able to take advantage of this volatility crush. There is more or less a known entity going in. But again, remember, right? It's always going to be gimmies and gotchas. Always and forever, the end. Right? And so if I'm buying the option, I need a delta move that's going to overwhelm the volatility crush. And so again, it's a tug of war between delta and Vega. If I'm selling the option, I need the volatility crush to be strong enough to potentially, ward off or overcome or shield against a delta move or a direction move. So again, it's delta and Vega, but it just depends on which one you need to be the driving force. If I am the option buyer, I need delta to be the driving force. If I am the option seller and I'm not really directional on the strategy, I need Vega or the volatility crush to be that driving force. But as it pertains to strategy selection specifically, really any short premium strategy is going to be able to take advantage of volatility crush. Now, of course, if you want to take more advantage or a bigger advantage of volatility crush, then you would do something undefined risk. If you want to take something that doesn't maybe capitalize on that advantage as much, now you would do something defined risk. But again, it's gimmies and gotchas. If I'm undefined risk, obviously I have no safety net. If there is an outlier move against me, I'm going to have to feel the weight, the full weight of that move. If I am defined risk, now I know my worst case scenario, but I'm not necessarily going to be able to take advantage of volatility crush like I could with undefined risk. So now, to get an even better view of volatility crush, because we have Google, Tesla, and IBM after the bell today, let's hop into Tasty Trade and let's take a look at what we think the volatility crush is likely going to be after these numbers are released. Okay, so here I am inside of my Tasty Trade platform, and I've got Google pulled up for our first of the 3 different stocks that are reporting earnings after the bell tonight. Again, Google, IBM, and Tesla. Well, if you look at an option chain, you can see pretty clearly what the volatility crush is expected to be. If you look at the cycle with the shortest number of days, or the least amount of days, I should say, the shortest cycle that includes earnings, which is going to be the 2-day cycle that has tonight's earnings call in it, you can see the implied volatility of that cycle in Google is 93%. Well, if you then kind of go out to either the next month or even the back month, you're going to see that August goes all the way down to 40%, and then September goes all the way down to 36 or 37%. And so that differential between the front week, including earnings, and the next 2 months approximately are going to show you how many volatility points are anticipated to come out of Google essentially when the number is released. Now, is it all going to come out on the bell? No, it's going to take a little bit of time, but it would not surprise me at all if once the number is released in Google for tonight, we actually see tomorrow or Friday, this option in the July cycle that does expire on Friday, it may drop down to 50%. It may drop down to the mid-high 40s. It does happen pretty quickly when it comes to the volatility crush. And if I do the same thing in Tesla here, you can see, again, the 2-day cycle has about a 95% volatility. And if I go to the August cycle with 30 days, I'm all the way down to 51%. If I go to the September cycle with 58 days, I'm all the way down to 49%. So again, similar vol crush between Tesla and Google. But this gives you an idea of just how many vol points, as we say, are anticipated to come out of these options right when the number is released. So that is volatility crush. And again, you may want to buy options, you may want to sell options. Only you can decide what you want to do, but just understand what you're signing up for. Like, understand the gimme gotcha relationship that you are engaging with, and this volatility crush, as we saw along the option chain of both Google and Tesla, like, it's going to happen. Like, it's going to happen. The volatility is going to come out of the options. And so you want to make sure you understand that, and that may help to inform what strategies you might select before earnings are released. And I'll see you guys in the next one.